Now, it's time for the Neighborhood Connection, sponsored by The Wall.
Now that spring is here, we have a ton of pests coming out of the woodwork, and we had a great question this week on how to deal with those sugar ants that seem to be coming out of everywhere. Well, there's some easy ways to take care of this. For instance, the stuff by Terro. It is so easy and safe to use. All you have to do is open up the package, and we've got these little traps right here. You just lay them out, cut the tips out, and it is basically a sticky solution. The ants get it. They take it back home, and guess what? They disappear. A week or so of this, and those sugar ants will be gone, and they'll be off your countertops, your doors, or any place else around the house. Just one secret with them, make sure you keep them away from pets, because you don't want them getting into this stuff. It's not that toxic, but it's not great for them either. Now, that's not the only pest we're dealing with outside. One of my favorite secrets to dealing with mosquitoes out there is this. It's a really great non-toxic solution. These little donuts you can drop into standing water as long as it's not drinking water, and they actually keep those mosquitoes from hatching. So you'll eliminate those mosquitoes around your house. So if you've got water tanks, if you've got a stream that leads into a pond, any of those things like that, even an upside down tire, it'll take care of it, and it's non-toxic. So it's great for you and the animals and everything else. Just don't drink the water that they're sitting in. But usually that pond water is not great anyway. Now, the other thing is we start getting into wasp and hornet season, and these disposable traps are a great way to go. All you have to do is go in here, cut off the top of this, fill it up with water to the line, and hang it up. And it's gonna attract them, and you're gonna have them in this little bag. You take it, you throw away. No cleaning out of those other big traps. Now, this can take a lot of them if you've got a big mess. So even up to an acre, you can take up to 48 of these on that property. But once they're filled, you can throw them away, and you've got that under control. Now, I tell you what, I think in every household, we see spiders, right? They're coming out of the woodwork at springtime. My favorite thing with spiders is there's that one person in the house that has to go kill them. In my house, that's me. They came out with a great spider killer that's water-based. So, of course, don't put it down where there's kids or pets or anything like that, but this makes it a lot easier to clean up, and it'll go after all those major spiders that you see in your house. These here will keep your pests under control, and it's gonna make for a little easier to be around that house, and you're not having to clean it all up afterwards. Now we've got another question coming up that's a good one.
Hey Eric, I was wondering if you could help me out with this. I got a roof that's leaking pretty bad on my garage. Any way you can help me out with this?
You know, that's a great question. How do you fix a little hole in the roof? And guess what? My old roof has that same hole. Let me show you how to fix it. It's kind of easy, but you just got to be careful on the roof. Let's go down and take a look. See what kind of mess we have here. See, on my roof here is where I used to have electrical going through before I did my panel change out. So this little hole right here is leaking like a sieve. So let's do some surgery, get this opened up. I've got some replacement shingle here I'm gonna slide into there and repair. And I've got one other spot I'm gonna show you how to fix as well. That way, we can stop that leaking roof. First off, I'm gonna get underneath this thing here. All right, let's get under here and pop this up a little bit. This is really held on by nails and roofing tar. And these are old shingles, so they're really brittle. So you're just trying to pry them up a little bit and get under the nails so you don't tear them up too badly. I know this one I'm gonna tear up, but it's the best we can do. All right. Now, one of the things with this here is this can be really, really brittle, and that's when you really need a new roof. And I tell you what, I need a new roof on this. That's next year's project. But this is all about stopping water from coming in here. And water can come from every different direction. So let's get underneath it and find out where it's coming in from here. The secret to roof shingles is this overlapping method where it overlaps the next one, and so the water can run downhill and off to your gutters. With this, we had it where water could go right down in off that top cap into the storage space down below. That makes a big mess. So now we're gonna patch this thing up here and get this filled in so we don't have to worry about it leaking anymore. And I'll show you how we're gonna do it. First off, I wanna get this all kind of cleaned out. And I could just put a piece of shingle over the top of this, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually use some of this flexible flashing here first. And you can get this, there's a bunch of different companies that make it, but this is the Zip System stuff here. I had some on the shelf, So that's what we're going to use. If you have ice and water shield meant for roofs, it'll do the same thing. But this stuff here will give us that flexibility that we can do to really make sure that it gives us that waterproof seal no matter where the water's coming from. So this stuff here is a pressure sensitive, sticky, flexible flashing, so it will seal over this. But first I'm going to pull some of this other shingle material back so I can get as best adhesion. This doesn't really like to stick on top of the shingle, so let me remove these shingles back and we'll put that on here next. There. This layer off right here so we can get in here without messing with the flashing. So for this, I'm just going to cut this little piece of flexible flashing here. It's just this kind of butyl material. Okay, this stuff is pressure sensitive, so we need to actually stick this down and slide it underneath there first. And I'm going to peel this release paper back just a little bit. So I want this to slide up underneath there just a couple inches. So let me show you how that's going to work. All right, let's slide this up underneath here. Get that up there as far as I can, like that. I'm going to pull this release paper back and then get the other half. Get that in there. This is just kind of my tar paper, or what would be my insurance policy. I'm going to cut another little piece to go over the top of that there. The secret to these tapes is a roller. They're pressure sensitive, which means you need to put about 30 pounds of rolling pressure on it to stick. Otherwise, the next wind, they're going to blow off. Let me show you how to do that part. Okay, let's get this rolled in. And I can see when you get the texture of the plywood through it, then you know you've got the tape sealed up like this. That's how I know that's going to stick there. All right, I got that sealed up. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a little piece of shingle. This is a starter shingle, which means it's meant to go underneath it, but it's the closest match to this roof since it's discontinued. So I'm just going to put a little piece in there to give us that extra little bit of, well, insulation to make sure that we don't get anything on there as far as water up underneath it. All right, now let's get this fit in here just right. I'm going to slide this down a little bit since we had that hole. I'm not worried about a perfect line up here in this corner. I just want it to seal up right. So we're going to put it about right there. I'm going to grab a couple nails and lock this in. All right, let's get some nails set. Now all these nails need to be covered because if you can see a nail, it's going to leak. So that's why we're doing this underneath this upper layer here. All right, let's see if we can get this slid down. Now, if this is a high wind area, you can use some of that blackjack tar stuff that goes in the seat in a caulking tube and put it down here. I don't get any wind right here, so I'm not too worried about it. Now, I'm going to try to get this nail back down in here. Let's see if I can set this. All right, now that's a great temporary roof patch. I really need to do this whole roof one of these days, but you know something? That's for another project. But this is going to keep water from inside the building, and that's what we aim to do today on a simple roof repair.